Microsoft is once again delivering the kinds of statements that are going to make a lot of gamers happy, although I'm sure plenty will remain too skeptical to believe that these deals will ever actually come to pass, as we had recently the president of Microsoft going on an interview to once again restate his commitment to making sure that all the new IPs that they will soon be set to acquire with the Activision Blizzard acquisition will remain as open to all potential consumers and all potential platforms as possible, specifically mentioning his desire, his hope to see Call of Duty come to the Nintendo Switch, potentially alongside some other beloved IPs that they will soon be set to control. Now, this comes off the heel of recent interviews talking about their, again, dedication to making sure everything remains nice and open, and of course, their efforts to ensure that antitrust regulators do not feel a little bit threatened by the potential size of this new gaming giant entering the scene. But without further ado, let's hear from the man himself and see what we can glean from what he has to say.
So you're not going to make that content exclusive to Xbox going forward, are you?
One of the things we're being very clear about as we move forward with the regulatory review of this acquisition is that great titles like Call of Duty from Activision Blizzard today will continue to be available on the Sony PlayStation. We'd like to bring it to Nintendo devices. We'd like to bring the other popular titles that Activision Blizzard has and ensure that they continue to be available on PlayStation, that they become available on Nintendo. You know, one of the first acquisitions, really the first acquisition made after Satya Nadella became CEO, was of Minecraft. That was back in September of 2014. And what we've done with that acquisition, I think, is a clear indicator of what we hope to do if we acquire Activision Blizzard.
Now let's for a moment set aside the question of how good this is going to run, because of course you're going to get far better performance out of your beefier competitors compared to how good this game is going to run on the Switch. But the question is whether or not it can run well enough to still be enjoyable. And I think based on a lot of the other titles we currently see on the Switch, it absolutely has the firepower to handle decently running COD. And you'll be getting that and on the go. People love this console. The Switch just managed to pass the sales record set by the Wii, and that's no small feat. And don't forget, by the way, that we're talking about the possibility of other big titles making their way over as well. Titles which some are going to run a little bit better, have lower demands than Call of Duty, or at the very least equivalent. We're talking about things like Diablo, Overwatch, who knows what else could be on the table. All of this, of course, is dependent on Nintendo playing ball, which of course is in turn dependent on what kinds of deals Microsoft tries to work out. But we're seeing a reaffirmation of Microsoft's game plan for the future. Once again, they're not after exclusives. They're not looking to try and peel customers off of the competition's platforms by force. They're trying to expand their sales opportunities and avoid antitrust regulators cracking down on them by adopting a business strategy of getting their IPs onto as many storefronts as possible, and of course, by having as many IPs as possible to spread across said storefronts. Of course, their intent to make the Game Pass a better value by loading it with even more games will inevitably do some of the work of luring folks onto Xbox for them. But with these two strategies working in tandem, they just might get to have their cake and eat it too. This deal is looking more and more interesting with every new revelation, and I for one cannot wait to get official word on what the Game Pass is going to look like post-acquisition, presuming of course that this acquisition isn't interrupted midway through. And while we wait, we can only debate. So drop a comment down below, once again, letting me know how you feel about the situation as it stands. Will we ever see Call of Duty played on the Switch? Are there any other beloved titles, esports or otherwise, you think have a solid chance of making it over onto the platform? And in general, how are you feeling about this deal the closer and closer we get to it potentially actually happening? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will of course be back to update you with another video as soon as more news breaks on this, and I'm sure we won't be waiting too long before we hear another interesting piece of gossip or get another solid revelation about the future. Until then, folks, that's all I've got for you. Thank you for joining once again, and I will be talking to you very, very soon.